doctor, and he's working in the Security Forces Hospital in Mecca, by the way. And Dr. Abdurrahman al-Shihri, holding masters from UK, and as well he's holding a PhD from UK. And by the way, we need to congratulate him for publishing his first book one week ago. His achievements was he is the best presentation in Europe 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, which is we are very proud of him. I don't like to take a long time defines my speakers. Let's talk about them. Let's all of us to welcome both of them.
Okay, thank you so much for coming along to attend the research lectures this afternoon. Myself and Dr. Abdurrahman will be discussing the research in terms of how do we select the most appropriate journal for our research. Then my colleague, Dr. Abdurrahman, will be discussing the abstracts and the way of writing appropriate abstract for.
We'll bring the mic within 2 minutes.
Okay, then my friend Abdurrahman will discuss the how do we write a scientific abstract, and at the end I will be focusing on the application of PhD or fellowship. So this is the first presentation on how to select the most appropriate journal for our research. So let's say you have spent a lot of time doing your research, either in the clinic, in the lab, anywhere, and you have completed your paper, taking into the account having the paper checked, spelling, grammar, constructive criticism as well, and you come to the stage in deciding which journal to publish your work. So the question is, do we have to decide on the paper at the beginning of our project, or shall we leave it at the end? The question is to all. Okay, what do you think? Do we have to select the paper at the beginning, or shall we write everything and then decide at the last minute? Okay, so it's controversial. Some people, they will write the paper at the they will decide on the journal at the first, thinking of the instruction of each journal instead of leaving everything at the end. Other people will think we have to write everything and then we decide on the journal at the last minute. So it depends on the research group, and it depends on, it varies from one place to another. So in my opinion, I will leave it, I will do my project, I will write everything, making sure the paper is well presented and it's ready for submission. So the first step is to make a list of the journal. Make a list of the journal in your area or in your field of specialty. So it depends, the list of the journal depends on the type of the project. If it is more detailed or more specific, so you have to go for the specific journal. If it is a little bit wider, so go for the more broad journal. Okay. Determine the impact of the journal. Some journal high impact factors, and this is down to the number of the citation of each of the paper published in the journal. Other people, they have different consideration in regard to the determining the impact factor, which is depends on the requirement of each journal. Some journal require the work to be more specific, or they require certain population or certain group to be present. Okay, so impact factor is varies from, I would say, point something until we reach the nature, which is 40. And again, impact factor, it reflects the novelty, the originality of the work you did in your project. So if you have a sort of novel projects, so this will increase the impact factor of the journal you are publishing in. So also, one of the things you have to bear in mind, the journal scope and policies to match the scope of the journal with your needs of publication. Check the journal requirements and distribution. Each journal has certain requirement with regard to the instruction, with regard to the how to analyze the data, with regard to the writing style, also the distribution. Some journals are published once a month, some journals published bi-monthly, some journals quarterly. So you have to also think of the distribution of the journal.
When shall I do these?
Sorry?
When shall I do these? At the beginning, the mid, or after?
Again, so you have to weigh things up with your tutor, with your supervisor, with your colleagues, and you have to come and see, because projects is not solely one person work. It's kind of a teamwork. So you have to come into agreement which journal to publish. Okay. Also, it's very important to check the information on the journals peer review process, and this implies the time of the submission, the time needed for the paper to be published, from the submission to the critical analysis by the reviewer of the journal. Some journal may take long time, some journals fast in the process in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Some journal takes a bit longer. So it is very important, if you are demanding a very fast journal to be published, so take this into consideration. Some journals takes a little bit long. Again, if you decide with your colleagues, with your research group on the journals, online you can find the instruction for the authors, follow them. The style of the writing, the type of the method of analysis, everything. You will find a thorough information of the instruction with regard to the authors. So this is briefly, make it very easy, straightforward. My colleague Abdurrahman will be looking at the writing scientific abstract.
Shall we start, yeah? So first, I would like to thank the committee and specifically Dr. Yahya. So we need this lecture as a group discussion. So feel free to ask questions during the presentation, okay? So we need more benefits. So how to write an abstract? It should be how to write an abstract and proposal. But abstract is similar to the proposal. So from the abstract, you can get your proposal. So what is an abstract? It's just a short statement of a whole project or essay. So you just summarize the whole story in just one paragraph. So reasons for not writing. I think all these elements in each of every one of you. So everybody say that, how I start. How do I start? From where can I start? Lack of confidence. Anxiety about writing skills. It's okay, it's fine. Even if you have no language. It is your second language. Nobody will judge you. Just make it simple for you. We are complicated in our life. So just take your essay, go to a coffee shop or lodge, cottage, whatever you want, and sit down for 3 days, focus, and just make your story. It's just a story. Introduction, aim and hypothesis, methodology, results, and conclusion. Just in your life, you do the same thing. If anybody asks you to do a report right now about this conference, what you will do? I came early morning, I woke up early morning, I came, and I take my breakfast, and then I went to the lecture. It's just like that. Why we make it so complicated? Any question?
It's just a comment, please. It wouldn't take me 3 days to write an abstract. It should be taking much less.
No, I'm talking abstract. So you are going to apply for example, for a PhD. So you need to read an essay or report or at least 3 to 4 papers to get your abstract or your proposal. Did you get my point?
I get your point, but this is like, I totally agree that if you want to write a proposal, that would take probably 3 days or 4 days or whatever, because your ideas needs to be very focused on what you need to do. But if you're going to write an abstract,
Discussion afterwards.
Okay, fine. It's a good point. He's talking about one half his abstract. So it's ready. You just take your abstract from this conference and just attach it to the other conference, and that's it. I'm talking about a new fresh abstract or proposal. So it's just a story. It's like a funnel. You know the funnel? Narrow down, narrow down, narrow down, narrow down from huge information up to the point. So you're starting from huge information, and then you're trying to make it smaller, smaller, smaller to get your point in this project. So everybody getting in these mistakes when he write an abstract. They don't differentiate between the abstract and the introduction. So here, the abstract is the heart of the paper. So if you get into the website or in Google, once you read the abstract, you will get the point from the paper. But the introduction is a different story. Introduction is just introduce you to the paper. So abstract should cover background, aim and hypothesis, which is very important. We always get in these mistakes. Aim and hypothesis is very important in each essay or report or a paper. Always when I read research or paper, I find people, they don't know how to get to the point. So make your aim very clear. 1, 2, 3. And then what you are expecting. I'm expecting this and this and this. So the most important thing is the aim and hypothesis. Then use your methodology in this project, your results and conclusion from these methods, and then your recommendation, future plan. You can get from any project you want, any project. You can take 2 to 3 proposals. I don't need this.
لا لا هو عايز عشان الساوند اصلا
ثقيل.
لازم عشان الساوند.
Okay. So, but introduction could cover only background, purposes, plan, outlines of key issues, and scope. So it just take you to the next step. Just you explain, just you introduce anyone who reading your paper or project to the next step. That's it. Abstract just summarize, as I said, the whole story. But the introduction is just taking you to the next point, which is the aim. Okay. 2 different of abstracts we have. One for research, one for review. Research, the difference between the research and the review is research taking 2 to 3 years to do your research, sometimes 1 year in a small project. Review is just reviewing many papers. Okay, I'm going to review between long-acting therapies in insulin and long-acting therapies in GCSF, so on. So you're just reviewing many papers. As I said, the research includes background, aim, hypothesis. I will explain it. I will explain the research one and the review one. So this one, you will cover aim, methods, results, discussion, conclusion of the paper. Most likely used by reader in the same field. So if you want to focus in your research, you need to find one doing the same research that you do. But if you want to do introduction for your research, so you need to take a review. So you make it's like worldwide. So I'll explain each one of them. Example of research abstract. Don't worry, I'll not read all of this. So as I said, it's just introduction, aim, hypothesis, methodology, results, conclusion. That's it. Introduction, just introduce, as I said, your paper. Aim, what you want from this project. Hypothesis, what you are expecting from this project. You need to know before you start. So it's like you looking for treasure or something like that. Results, method that used in this project. Results, it's the outcome of the methods. And then you have to discuss your results. So if you have, in our field, we like to have negative data. We don't like positive data. Positive data is an awful data. And you can't get a prize or best research, but you can't write any discussion because nobody get the same thing. But when you get, don't worry, when you get negative data, that means you can write as much as you can because you will find some people getting the same thing, the negative data. So it doesn't matter if you have positive data or negative data. And then the conclusion, which is summarizing everything. It is similar to the abstract. I think you are holding many questions for me.
What does negative data mean?
negative results. So, okay, I'll explain it. So this study, let's start from here. So this is a review abstract. So we've been talking about the research abstract. This is the review abstract. So anyone can do this review abstract. Anyone. Okay, let's say that we are reading through the paper. Okay, so you get 3 papers, 4 papers. Okay, and you find in this paper, not in the abstract, in the same paper, you found that long-acting therapies, short-acting therapies, okay, their problem with the patient, they are inconvenient because they're taking these short-acting therapies every day. So the problems with this therapy, just focus with me, is inconvenient, also expensive, and paining, especially for children. So this is the problem, okay? So we need a solution. The solutions to make it long-acting therapies, so the patient come to the hospital and taking one injection, for example, in 2 weeks, such as pegylation, albumin, pH glycosylation. These methods, okay, used with the drug that inject for once, the short one, to make the long one. You get the point? Okay. So the abstract should cover these things only. You just mention it. Don't explain. Just mention the current therapeutic drugs, such as insulin, growth hormone, GCSF, leptin, require once daily injection, which are inconvenient and expensive. Okay? Therefore, a number of approaches used to reduce therapeutic regimen, which is they make it longer in half-life, so make it long in the body, have been tried mainly through conjugation with another moiety such as pegylation, albumin, pH glycosylation. So if you conjugate this protein, this drug, whatever you want, with these methods, you will get your long-acting therapy. Okay, so the aim of this review is to clarify, discuss these technologies and discuss their advantages and disadvantages. That's it. Simple. Make it simple for your life. Go coffee shop today. So focusing. Okay. So can I get a proposal from this abstract? Very easy. Very easy. So you have insulin, growth hormone, GCSF, these proteins in the body, they make a drug for patient that, for example, the one that they take in chemotherapy. So they inject them with these, for example, the granulocyte consummate factor, they give to the patient after they taking the chemotherapy to correct the number of WCs in the body. So most studies conjugate these 4 with what? With pegylation. So I need an idea. Choose any one of them and conjugate it with the other one. That's it. Easy peasy. Examples. Insulin. Most people conjugate it with pegylation. Okay, we get our long-acting therapy, but it is toxic and non-degradable. So the insulin is going through the body, but the pig is still in the body. They found it in the bile for a long time. But it's still working, so it's better than the short-acting therapy, at least. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to conjugate it with glycosylation. Glycosylation, it's a normal process in the body. Why? I can, instead of this one, I can use this one. So conjugated with glycosylation, what is glycosylation? You can manipulate with insulin in the amino acid. Glycosylation is carbohydrate in the body. They are just moving in the circulation. When they find the insulin, they just attach to make it bigger. So the clearance will reduce. Clear? Sorry? Glycosylation. Glycosylation is a method like big, it's just a method. What we do, we conjugate it with insulin to convert it from short acting to long acting. Clear? Don't get into the details. So, expecting long acting therapies with no disadvantages. Okay, you can conjugate it with any other method. Even if you get disadvantages, this is your project. This is what you got. Easy. You will not get a novel data. People getting novel data or Nobel data, they give them Nobel Prize, which is very difficult thing to do. Okay. Email is, I will conclude my story in how to send your abstract or your proposal. Email is a very important thing. Some people just send me an abstract and proposal with no title, with no dear, just this is my proposal, this is my abstract, which is disrespect. Don't do this, please. You have to be very polite. Even with weak proposal or weak abstract, you will get the approval for your review or your research. Okay? Thank you so much.
The same thing applies for fellowship, because all the documentations needed for a PhD. Because all the documentations you need for a PhD is the same as fellowship. Okay, does anybody knows what is PhD stand for?
What's the meaning?
Yeah, stand for, yeah. In my opinion, it stands for permanent head damage, okay? Sorry. Because at some stage of the PhD, you might feel depressed, you might feel you would like to escape somewhere. PhD is a long process. It takes you 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and may even longer than 5 years. So you have to be prepared. Prior to the application of a PhD, think clearly. Is my personal characteristics suited for the PhD? PhD is different from a master's degree, different from bachelor degree. Okay? So if you are ready for it, okay, we'll go to the next slide. Okay? Before the application of the PhD, make sure you have all the documentations ready. Okay? And this include the previous qualifications, bachelor's, master degree. It may include the work experience. It may include also any works you do for the community. Some people, they will take this as a credit for the researcher. You have to have the proposal, your research proposal, as my colleague and Dr. Highlighted this in the previous presentations. With regard to the research proposal, again, you might find some supervisor have some questions, some gaps during their long life research, and they would like students to run their research. So you might have a proposal, or you might be lucky to find someone to do a research with. It's not to do the research for him, but you have to do the research with him. Okay? You have to have also to show a good English proficiency, such as IELTS, TOEFL exam. You have to build your CV, okay? And in your CV, you have to present it in a way to show the supervisor that you are having much of expertise in the area you are interested in, okay? And at the end, the covering letter, it is also mandatory to have it in your application. So it's a list of the things, okay? When you are ready to apply for a PhD, so make sure to tick all the points in this slide, okay? It may be less, it may be more than this, okay? But at least you have it, ready when you are off to go, okay?
If you want to take picture, this is very good slide.
At least there is a minimum admission criteria, because we are fresh graduate. We know this from experience. We have helped many students applying for their PhD. Okay, so we know exactly the process. How long does it take? Okay, how easy it is with some university, and some university, their admission criteria is a little bit harder than other universities. So there is what he called minimum admission criteria. So at least have your bachelor, master degree ready, academic references, and I will go into more details about the references in the next slide, in the upcoming slides. You have to show that you can have a tuition fees paid by either yourself or the government scholarship. As I said before, English language has to be up to the standard, because in the PhD degree, you will be doing more of a communication with other researchers around the globe. You might be doing presentation in international conference, so you have to be well prepared for this journey, okay? So it's a kind of multi skills, okay? You have to build up before starting the PhD journey, okay? Just think of the PhD as a learning process, okay? And apply every single thing into it, okay? Research proposal, I'm not going into details about this. Both doctors have highlighted this before, okay? If you're lucky, as I said, you might find a professor with a project that needs a student to do. If you are applying for the PhD, make your application as professional as possible, okay? In everything, in every communication with the university, in the emails you are sending to the university, show that you are really interested in their research, you are really prepared, you are really have the passion to do the PhD, okay? Don't send a random email, don't use a free emails, okay? Use a professional emails in communication, okay? When you are ready, and when you have all the documentation, okay, start the application process, okay? Have all the documentation in one package, okay? Don't send the documents as individual in the email communication. Have them all in a PDF file, okay? Because the university or the supervisor might be too busy not to see to download every single file. So have them all in one file, okay? The covering letter, I would say the email would be enough for this job. You can send an email, as my colleague Dr. Abdurrahman mentioned. You have to start by dear, blah blah. You have to introduce yourself briefly, and then you have to highlight their research. Okay. So, for example, say I have browsing the internet and I saw the research you are conducting in your university, and I'm really interested. Okay, not only interested, you have to show you are interested. Do some research about their research. Okay, you have to support this with some publication. Okay, to show that you are really interested. If you can find some gaps in their study, it would be a good point. So you show that, you know, at least you can come up with questions later on during your research. Okay. Example, as I said, email can do the purpose. Okay. Also, you have to match your CV to the PhD program. Okay. In your CV, you have to mention the area of your interest to match the interest of the university you are applying for. Okay. Also, in your CV, discuss any work you do for your community, any work you do for the charity. As I said, you know, PhD is a long process, so you have to show that you can stand along the whole journey. Okay. If you are under pressure through your PhD, you can find something to do. For example, any hobbies, anything you like to do, okay, which may lessen the pressure of the PhD. Okay, you have to have this, and this will support your application. Before I said there are two types of references. There is what they call personal character references, and there is what they call professional references. Professional references has to be from someone in the field of specialty, okay? Someone you work with who can reflect on the projects or the area of interest. Personal character references, anyone from outside the area, okay, who can reflect on the personality, okay, how good you are, how manageable you are in terms of the pressure of the PhD, okay. If you have any publication, I know you come to the start of the PhD, sometimes you may not have any publication, but it's good to show that you have some publication, okay. It's good to have it, but it's not mandatory, okay. It is not something you have to do. But if you have publication, it's good to show that you have publication. As I said, there is other evidence of excellence. If you have any hobbies, any interest, any sporting activities, any travel you do in your life, it will be a good thing, you know, to support to present with your package of PhD application. Let's say you have come up with an idea, you have researched the publication, and you find something which is of interest, okay, and there is a questions you want to answer during your PhD. You have to roadmap the journey, the whole journey. It's good to have, if you did not find any projects, and if you want to build your own projects, you have to have the roadmap from the start of the PhD until the last day of the PhD, okay? As it's clearly, this is just only an example, but you have to say, for example, at the first 3 months of my PhD, I would like to do extensive research of the publication. Then, if you come up with an idea or the research questions, I would like to use this technique in the next 6 months. If you come up with the result, you would like to share this result with peoples in the same bubbles, and because sharing the ideas, sharing the publication might come up with positive ideas, which might help you later in the research. Okay. Transcript. Okay, we'll skip this. Be professional again and again and again. Okay. Application of the PhD again can be done by yourself, or it can be done by agent. I would do it myself. I will not use any other people, because nobody knows the research, the skills you have more than yourself. So you might need helps from others. We are really happy to help you if you need any help. But be professional. If you are emailing, if you are sending any materials, or if you are showing the CV, anything, be professional. Again, English proficiency is very important. Okay. Tuition fees, you have to show that you can cover your expenses, and scholarships are available. You can apply through the ministry if you would like to. Choosing the supervisor, I would say choosing the supervisor has to come at the first, not at the end. Okay, so I leave it to the end just to remind you, supervisor has to be at the first of your application process. So if you find the supervisor, contact the supervisor, and arrange with a Skype meeting if it is good to. Okay, discuss the research, discuss any questions you may want to raise, and then if he is happy to take you, you can start the application process, which I discussed earlier on in the presentation. Summary. At the beginning, identify your area of interest. Okay. Approach the relevant department. Find the supervisor. Discuss with him a research interest, title, supervision requirement. Okay. Inquire with the department about any scholarship. This is not a problem at all. Once you have a supervisor, apply online. You can do the application online, which may take which may varies from one university to another, but it may take 2 months to 3 months, and then off to go to the start of PhD. Okay. I think that's all. Thank you so much.